Welcome to your broker admin, where we dive into the latest review outcomes, share practical tips in our Humpday helpers, and feature special industry guest interviews to help you stay on top of the game. Whether you're flying solo or part of a team, we're here to help you streamline your processes and work smarter, not harder.
Well, it's a brand new financial year and a new episode of Your Broker Admin to go with it. But before we kick off episode 78, here's this week's bonus history bite. On this day in history, July the 1st, we have a couple of events that ended up more momentous than ever imagined, for vastly different reasons. In 1903, the inaugural Tour de France began and has been held annually since, except when it was understandably not held during the two world wars. The historic cycling race was organised by the French sports newspaper, L'Auto, to boost its declining circulation. Imagine that. One of the world's great sporting events only exists because a newspaper wanted to sell more copies. Then in 1916, the first day of the Battle of the Somme in World War I unfolds. The British launched their planned offensive in the Somme Valley, but the Germans had been quietly preparing for weeks. The British Army suffers its worst day, with 19,240 men tragically losing their life that day. Moving into the present day, this week on Your Broker Admin, we'll kick things off with the reviews wrap-up covering the week ending the 26th of June 2026, where we've got a great example of synchronicity between lender and broker. Then on to this week's Humpday Helper, where I share a significant need-to-know policy update from Macquarie around credit reports. Before we finish up though, a quick mention to my listener in Finland. Every week I look at the statistics, and every week you're still there. Whether you're a mortgage broker, a broker admin, or you've simply taken a wrong turn on the internet, thanks for listening. I genuinely appreciate it. I'm Rob Cummings. Thanks for tuning into Your Broker Admin, and let's get started. This is the final reviews wrap-up for the financial year, as we look at outcomes from loan reviews completed during the week ending the 26th of June 2026. A quieter finish to the year, with 2 reviews resulting in rate reductions, delivering around $1,300 in annual interest savings. Mind you, around 98% of that came from one review. The other 2% was a typical CBA outcome, barely enough to buy a milk frother. And so the main result for this week was for a Heritage Bank customer, where the rate reduction obtained was a highly respectable 0.2%, considering the starting rate was already lower than many at 6.19%. This equated to a $1,280 interest saving, but the story doesn't simply end there. The first of our conversations was with a client who has a couple of investment loans with ING. Both loans were only settled last year when they were refinanced from another lender, making this their first review. The loans are already sitting on a pretty competitive rate of 6.19%, so no further reduction was forthcoming from ING, which was understandable really. We called the client to let them know the review had been completed, confirm the competitive rate along with the current property values using RP data, and had a general chat about where things were at. Before long, the conversation drifted into the proposed CGT changes and what they might mean. And as it turns out, the client actually went to school with the broker, who was a bit younger than himself. They also work in the same industry as the broker used to before changing career path, so a fair bit in common. The client commented that they are happy with the loans and really appreciated the call. The second conversation was with the Heritage Bank customer I mentioned earlier. The loan is part of a purchase loan book for one of our newer brokers, with the loan only settling in 2024. The current LVR, based on the latest property report, is around 73%, and the rate review outcome was surprisingly good. We called to let the client know about the 0.2% reduction, and they were understandably delighted. Then the conversation took an unexpected turn. During the review, Heritage had pointed out that the client was paying a $350 annual package fee, which included a credit card. And the interesting part? They could also see the credit card hadn't been used. We mentioned this during the call with the client and asked whether the card was still needed. Said they never used it and asked whether removing it would make any difference. As it turns out, it certainly would. By removing the unused card, the loan fee drops to just $8 per month, creating another $250 or so in annual savings. The client wanted to have a quick discussion with the broker before making any changes, so a follow-up conversation has now been arranged. One observation from working with Heritage over the years is their genuine focus on customer care. Their processes generally can be a little clunky at times, but they've consistently looked for ways to improve the client's overall position once on board. I can't think of another lender that's proactively highlighted an inactive credit card simply because it could save the client some money. Without the review, none of this would have probably come to light. This is a great example of the review process. Lender and broker all working in sync to improve the client's overall position. Everybody wins. And just maybe, the best outcome wasn't the one we were looking for when we started the review. This week's Humpday Helper number 181 is one you'll definitely want to keep in the back of your mind if you're dealing with clients who regularly borrow for investment purposes through company or trust structures and are therefore providing guarantees for those loans. Macquarie has updated its policy around consumer real property mortgage guarantors, and it can catch you out if you're not aware of it. Here's the key point. If your client has 4 or more consumer guarantor inquiries recorded on their credit report, Macquarie's policy is to automatically decline the application. It doesn't matter if they're an existing Macquarie customer. It doesn't matter if the new lending is with Macquarie, or even if all the guarantor loans are with Macquarie. And according to the BDM, there are no exceptions. If you'd like to read the policy in full, you'll find it in Section 2D of Macquarie's Residential Home Loans Credit Guidelines. We recently had one of our brokers caught out by this, so it's definitely worth checking a client's credit report if they've been involved with multiple company or trust borrowings over the years. It's probably not something you'll come across every week, but when you do, it could save you from putting a deal down a path that's never going to get approved.
Thanks for listening to your broker admin. If you've got feedback, questions, or a topic you'd like covered on the show, you can now send it through via our Contact the Show page. The link is in the episode notes. If the link's not clickable in your player, just copy it from the show notes or head to the episode description on your phone. A rating on Apple Podcasts, a review on Podchaser, or a follow on Spotify all help the show reach the people it's built for. This has been your broker admin, for those who like their process neat.